Hey, so it's Keithy. What's up? How are you doing? So I needed to do a video. I've been so consumed. So I was like gonna just put up a lot of videos and I've been working in synthesizer land over there. Working on some soundtrack stuff, all kinds of things here and there. Anyway, so hey, a guy that I know, and it's like sometimes I get good videos from just people asking me questions, even if it's just one question. I could lie and act like I'm some kind of popular YouTuber, raw vegan person. Although I should be with the interesting information that you get from me that you won't get from anybody else. Because I've been doing it for 32 years, patting myself on the back, yeah. This guy Phil, who I kind of like, because he's just really cool character, because he was kind of a raver party goer in the UK in the sort of drum and bass times, and he's vegan now, and I can't remember when we started talking, but whatever. He was asking me a question about what I ferment. Because he was saying he's got, I think he said he got an 8 liter, I don't know if it was a jar or a crock, but whatever, like what would I do? Like what's my favorite combination? So here in a way, I'm kind of like, I can sometimes have way more than this going on. This is just like some of my stuff I have supply of at this time, meaning that like, yeah, I mean, because you could just stay busy, especially when you have a whole like closet like I do dedicated to stuff. And that big jar down there is Rejuvelac. And I have ones that are in there that I've had for years. That one. I made that one a long time ago. I made it too salty and it's like nothing happens to it. It's fun to use it as like a weird chutney or something sometimes. So, so the basic technique, right, is just taking any vegetable, chopping it whatever way you want, chopping it fine. So to answer the question quickly, in the largest vessel that you have, so I always have this on hand, which is, this is a gallon jar. Sometimes it's only easy to get these big jars to buy a kimchi at the Asian market. And if I can't find somebody to give that shit away to, then I toss it because I want the jar. So this is one cabbage head that's green and one cabbage head that's purple or red, whatever you want to call it. And that's what turns out. And that's like a staple, like for a starch vegan person or something that's like doing white rice or whatever kind of rice. That's their staple. This is a staple of all of my food. And then that juice that's in there, that you can start doing with all kinds of salad dressings. And I'm going to talk about salad dressings. So let's start going through all of this stuff. So this is a new one. I always wanted to culture a celery root. That's what's in that jar right there. And strangely, that one turned out with having a heavy, like kind of more smell, not so much a taste, but it was unique to like most everything, like a lot of this stuff, especially this, not so much this, but generally a lot of stuff when you do this technique of fermentation, which again is just chopping vegetables fine or chunky, and they turn out like different textures and stuff, depending on, so you have to experiment. So it's cut it up, put it in a jar and make sure it's covered with water. It doesn't need to be like completely covered, it's just like a few like parts of what you chopped up can be sticking it in a 1% salt solution, meaning 1% by volume with the whole jar. So that's just in whatever, just safe to say, just a pinch of salt. And I don't subscribe to the no salt thing, so that's a whole other topic that I probably won't even talk about because I don't care what people do. I just care about what I do. So back to this. So, okay, so one I discovered with just, this is like I've not seen people in the raw food movement do this. So I started doing this a while ago because I always research food and I got very curious about Moroccan food because I'm a William Burroughs freak and because I'm a fan of kind of hippie head drug culture, art, and just weird goings-ons. And so I wanted to look into Moroccan food because Morocco is an interesting place when it comes to like art, subversive literature, shit I like that. So this is a big part of Moroccan food is fermented lemons. And so what I eventually started doing was I would never waste my lemon. So, and people talk about wanting to get bioflavonoids. And they do all kinds of like whatever extreme like things to like just peel the outside. I don't know. I just use the whole thing. So I squeeze the lemon for a dressing or whatever, and then and here's another jar. I just brought it out because I just have these going like all the time. And in that one I put like a couple of pepper tops. I'm kind of where I'm not wasting anything. This is the new level of experimentation for me. Is I actually was thinking I'm not going to waste anything. I'm actually going to take all my scraps, and how people talk about a vegetable broth, you know, for cooking. I'm just going to keep a ferment broth, and never like every time like I'm going to make a salad dressing. It won't just be straight water, it'll be ferment water. And so I'm just going to keep a scrap jar, and that's where I got the idea of how lovely this worked. There's a couple favorite solo ones I have. One is definitely beets, and beets are fun because this is just maybe oh, sorry, I only have a dirty fork here. Whatever, it's cool. So this is maybe just a couple weeks, but if you let them go for a long, long time, these get all juicy and just like jelly, like yummy. Oh my God. And then the water is fun to save and make a salad with some kind of like dressing like this that's kind of white, and then to drizzle a little bit of that purple juice on there and make the presentation very sort of colorful and sort of psychedelic and sort of artsy. Like if you go to my Instagram, Live Rockstar at Instagram, whatever, however you find that, you just, I don't know if that's a cell phone only thing or whatever. But there's a few, like I do my food porn on there. I don't do it on Facebook no more. So there's beautiful things that I've made with using the purple juice. Not so much that, yeah, that's okay, but saving the juice. Always save the juice all the time and use it, because that's what this one is. We'll get to this one at the end. It's made from a juice, from that actually. Anyways, so you save that. Same with this, and just use it for whatever, and just improvise all your dressings and sort of expand your taste, and all this stuff will expand. This is a great one I made. A friend of mine that went to Vipassana also, Alicia. She was saying that the place that she was at had fermented parsnips, and that it was fermented in tamari or whatever, and I thought, well, that's interesting because, oh, and here's something I do. Sometimes because I do experimental things, I figure out ways that things taste better by the way they're chopped. And so parsnips I like the most when they're cut as discs like that, yeah? So I discovered this one just trying, like, I was like, okay, I'll do a variation on that. I'll just use the parsnips. And so this is parsnips cut into discs, moringa powder like a heaping tablespoon, miso like a lot, like a heaping tablespoon, which is a lot, and blending that in Vitamix with water, and then just putting all those parsnips in the jar, pouring that water that you blended, which was the water, the moringa powder, and miso and a little bit of salt. And then just poured that over. And this one you gotta burp, like the miso gives out a lot of activity. So this is already starting to ferment after you cover it. And so when you burp it, you always leave your things down 2 inches, or else you'll have a mess to clean up. And so that's why I have a specific like area. I can't open that. I don't remember why I wanted to. Oh yeah, to burp it. So you just take the lid off and let the pressure go, and then cover it back up, and then put it where you keep it. And it's better to keep it down in its own special place in a closet. So that's what I do. So that one tastes really good, and these parsnips are super tender and they're yummy, not only just because they're loaded with probiotics. And by the way, we'll go through this one more time. So when you buy like stuff that's less than ideal in a health food store, it says it has billions of organisms per like capsule or whatever. Like for just a dose of like, what's one that's really strong here is that one. Trillions and trillions and trillions. These are all trillion. This is trillions. This one's probably trillions. You know, this one's great because cabbage ferments great. They're all, same with the lemon. Some of these stay active. And oh, and another thing is don't worry about the white stuff. So if you're kind of freaked out about the white stuff, as soon as you open it, then put it in the fridge. Okay, so last but not least, oh, well, the salad dressing is gonna be last but not least, is a seed, yes, a seed cheese that I made that was from sprouted buckwheat, pumpkin seeds, and sesame seeds. And I took Rejuvelac in the jar with the towel on it. That's Rejuvelac. I made from water and sprouted rye seeds, and blended that up into a thick cream that was kind of like almost, I didn't want to generate too much heat with it being a probiotic thing, but just enough water just to keep it like safely turning it over and making it into a fine thing. Pour that in a jar, put a towel over the top just to keep dust and stuff from coming in, and in 24 hours that'll all puffed up, and this is this yummy cheese that is so like powerful, tasting like some amazing whatever gourmet foo-foo, like whatever shit that you would pay for at a cheese bar or something. And you could blend all kinds of like caraway or dill or like extra pepper in there or just whatever and make that taste really good. It does. And so last but not least is the recipe that I do with this. So I always love things that are tart. Yeah. And so like I said, I don't waste any lemons. So I make my dressings so I'll make this same dressing. This is a process maybe that'll happen. Is I'll buy a bag of 10 lemons, and I'll like make a dressing that's sesame seeds, my favorite base. I stick a lot of things in there. That's not what this is. This is how I'll start stuff. So it's like a juice from 1 or 2 lemons, depending on whether they're juicy. If they're juicy, just 1 lemon. Sesame seeds, like, anywhere from half a cup to a cup, usually around 3/4 of a cup, and salt. And that's the base recipe. And coconut oil, that's the base recipe. And so from there you can put nettle in there, some dried nettle that you can get from Mountain Rose Herbs, like a pinch. You can put like a teaspoon of kelp. You can put MSM. I always put MSM in everything. You definitely need that, and especially when you're getting old. So what this is the like 5 or 6, that's this. Now what this is right in front of you is 5 or 6 of these in the blender, water from that. So I created some space and I poured out the water to just keep them covered. And people fuss over this. You don't need to do no starter cultures. You don't need a fucking starter culture, dude. Seriously, it's so lame. Because you want to make this stuff raw with the bacteria that's around in your home where you live. Because that's the bacteria that's sort of reacting with you in your life. And so this is the stuff that's in your home and where you live. That's like yeast and pollens and like just whatever, like why you take this stuff in a way. And it's not the only reason that you take it, because it's great for brain chemicals and whatever. So on to what this is a dressing for a salad I'm having after I make this video. So it's 5 or 6 wedges from there, the water from there, 3/4 of a cup of sesame seeds. You could put whatever, cashews, whatever, but sesame seeds are cheap and they're loaded with like all kinds of great nutrients. It's a great staple food to have in a raw vegan diet over sunflower seeds or cashews or any of the things that other normal everybody following everybody else do. You got to look into your recipes just like this. So this has got lots of bioflavonoids in it, lots of probiotics, bioflavonoids, citrus bioflavonoids, blah, 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 blah. Lots of stuff from the whole lemon. It's sour, it's yummy. So the 3/4 a cup of sesame seeds, pinch of salt to taste, and coconut oil. Blend till it's nice. And ginger, put ginger in everything. You can slice up ginger and just ferment ginger. It's good. But you should acquire a taste for putting ginger in everything, because it makes everything you eat more bioavailable. So there's like whatever. There's the amount of ginger that I like to eat. Sometimes too much more once you acquire a taste, and always push your taste to discover new ways that your body adjusts to what you're giving it. So there's ginger in that too. So I'm not going to review that again. You got that, right? It's 5 or 6 of those. Blah, 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 blah. Ginger blended to this, and then that's a yummy salad dressing. And then all of this stuff will go on sort of a bed of greens, maybe some sprouts, some basil on top, whatever. Okay, so it's Keith. That's what I would do. If I have a biggest jar, I would make this stuff. Oh, but what is my favorite one for flavor? I forgot about that. That's the most important thing. Is one time I made with fresh moringa, which I get from a farmer at a local farmer's market. Fresh moringa, the leaves and the stems, big chunks of like finger-sized celery, and then fennel. Fennel is a good one because everything, like I said, kind of gets this tart taste that comes in some of that. But the fennel really keeps its presence. So do some great chilies. But I could talk about this forever. It's so awesome, really. It's like one of my favorite topics. Should talk about this more often. But yeah, that's my favorite tasting one. Is the moringa leaves, the celery, and the excessively, all in a big, at least a half-gallon size jar. All of them cut into chunks. It's yummy. Okay, so this is Keith signing out. Support me by supporting my music. These are all the recipes and the techniques that I do, but I love sharing this, and I don't really monetize my stuff or anything, but you can support me and all this stuff that I know by supporting my music, because that's what's most important to me. And all this healthy food supports my creative life and the things that I do. And so support me by supporting my music. Links in the drop down. second-cultured.com. That's my website, yeah. But first in there will be the Bandcamp, because that's secondculture.bandcamp.com. You can download my stuff. More stuff coming up there because I'm playing live a lot with that. That's my life now. Raw food. Live ambient house. 10, 11 synthesizers doing that live. So secondculture.bandcamp.com, second-culture.com. Like I said, support me by supporting my music. Namaste, bright blessings, love you. It's Keithy. Bye-bye, Ferment. It's so easy, it's so cheap. It's so amazingly cheap. In that size of a jar, in LA, people pay like $11, $16, $17, $18, $19 for that. And that's like, seriously, that whole gallon jar, it's like 2 heads of cabbage. I don't know, like that's like $5 for all of that. Okay. If that. All right, bye. Namaste, love you, bright blessings.